Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this week's webinar. I'm your host, Ian Bellina. Thank you for the patience. So if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A, and I'll get to them after the end of this market update. Hope you're all doing well. The market has bounced back. Let me pull up my screen here. Okay. Hmm. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. All right, there we go. Can you all see my screen? All right, so basically last week the market was bearish. This week it's bullish. This is why I like to view the market not in full-on bull market, bear market, but as in bullish and bearish trends. So as we mentioned in the past, you can have a bullish trend in a bear market, and you can have a bearish trend in a bull market. And basically last week was pretty much risk off, it's conservative, do an audit on your portfolio, pump the brakes. Now, back to being bullish, back to being risk on. And bull and bear is 90%, 93%, so very, very high. And if we come down here and we zoom in, we can see we're getting out of Bitcoin season. Bitcoin crossed 71K, but now we're not in full-on altcoin season, but I think now is really the time as we get closer to Bitcoin halving, which is happening sometime next month, based on different estimates. But now is really a good time to be back in the market. So all in all, things are looking good. Now, if we go to the ratings page, actually, let's go to the indices first to see what tokens our AI is picking to trade. So we've got PropBase, which I think is real estate on Solana. Synthetics, Bricken, Toshi, TokenFi. We've been hearing a lot about Airdrome Finance. We've covered this in the past, but I think it's actually been on a big move. And the investor indices haven't updated yet. All right, but let's actually look at Airdrome Finance first. Up almost 12%. It's 94% trader grade. FTV is 1.7 billion, so it is pretty high. Market cap 650, almost 60 million. But wow, it is. If you got into this at 7 cents, it's now at $1.08. This has printed money. 17x in 30 months. I mean, 1 month, 30 days. Pretty impressive, already on Coinbase. So now that the base narrative is taking off, people are getting ready for normies or retail to enter the market. People are basically going to where the big sexy narrative is. And when it comes to base, Airdrome is it. It's in essence a DEX on base, Coinbase's blockchain. Yeah, very, very interesting project. So I'll just put this in the chat for anybody that wants to check this out. Okay. All right. So if anybody's looking for a base narrative as a trade, this makes sense. So although the trade signal was really getting in back here, right? but it's still bullish, but definitely worth keeping an eye on that one. Prop space, FTV 200 million, market cap 57 million. Trader grade 92%. It's up 36%. It turned bullish at 2 cents. It's now at pushing 17 cents. So over 500% in 1 month. Welcome to the future of real estate investing. Start with as little as $100. I think this was actually built on Aptos. Okay, I'm sorry, not so. Aptos blockchain. Huh. Now, I'm not sure if we have covered this. Let me check our research site real quick. Just give me a minute here to log in. Because we've covered Homebase on Solana. Let's see, Prop base. Okay, we have not covered this one. I will have send this to our research team to look into. But we'll put this in the chat. Maybe worth it. I think one of the big narratives people have been clamoring about is RWA, real world assets. Now, which ones do we like? Parcel, it's a real estate play. We've covered that before in depth. One we've covered before as well is Homebase. Crypto. I don't believe there's a token yet. Okay, that's not the one I want. Homebase. But it's on Solana. So you have the Solana narrative, you have the real estate narrative, real estate tokenization. So it seems like PropBase is the same version, but on Aptos. So they have not launched a token yet, but if PropBase is already trading at 200 million FTV, I would assume the Sol version would have a higher premium once it launches. Definitely, I would put all these on a real world assets watch list. So I'm gonna put that one there. PropBase I've already shared. It's basically the Move version or Aptos version. But as a trade, if you're looking for real assets, this definitely comes to mind. Then one of our picks that we love, it's in our portfolio. Swell Markets has been moving. I also own this personally in my personal portfolio. So just want to pull this up briefly. Trader good is about 82%. Market cap is still under 100 million, 65. FTV is about 260 million. It's at $1. It turned bullish at 35 cents. So it's up about 200% in the last 1 month. 18x in the last 1 year. I would keep an eye on this as well. If you're looking for a low cap for real world assets. And this we have done research on, it's on the research site. The code review, I think, was at 87%. So very, very thorough technology. And I think really the big reason why real world assets as a narrative is not taking off even more, for those who haven't kept up with the recent news, BlackRock launched a tokenized fund. So now everything with RWA, real world assets, is in essence pumping. We just pull this up, BlackRock tokenized fund. Which one do I? Yeah, we'll just get the actual news release here. Right, BlackRock launches its first tokenized fund, Buto, on the Ethereum network. So this is big news. So now pretty much everything with real world assets has been taking off. So in terms of our RWA picks, we've got Swarm. We've got this more so as a trade. We have to look more into this. Homebase, I like. This made hidden gems, I believe, in the past. No token currently, but I would just put this on a watch list because once we peak in crypto, so think 2026, if you want to be conservative, say Q4 2025, and people are looking to take profits out of crypto into other asset classes, where will they go? Well, I think this cycle will have avenues to take profits out of our degen picks, out of our long-term picks, and still stay in crypto by diversifying in other asset classes, right? And I think real world assets is that vehicle, right? So imagine taking funds out of, let's say you get 100x on Peak, which just announced the fundraise today. You take a quarter off the table and invest into real estate using Homebase, or you invest into real estate using Parcel. Maybe you want to go long or short a city. So I think all these different avenues are really expanding the utility for crypto. And real world assets is definitely one of the big narratives to keep an eye on. And BlackRock launching this fund makes this asset class even more legitimate. So definitely keep an eye on that. All right, so if we actually go back to the ratings page, let's see what other projects have a high rating. So we've got Bricken, Aerodrome, Soil, Token5, Propbase, Prop Chain, lots of props. Here, let's do this instead. Let's do the filters. So we only want to look at bullish tokens. Let's only look at those that are trending up in trader grade. So we'll do 10% or more change in trader grade in the last 24 hours. And let's see the ones with the biggest reversals. Actually, let's boost the trading volume to 10 million or more daily. Okay, so we've got Numerai, Filecoin, IOST. I mean, so pretty much everything is moving up. If we actually just sort by trader grade, let's see what. Just give me a second here. In terms of the big plays right now, we've got Beam, the gaming blockchain, the meme coin on Avalanche, Hashflow, Sui, Pepe, meme coin as well. Lever5, I've not heard of this one. Propia real estate play again. Filecoin, Fetch, AI play. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see which ones are under 100 million market cap. Yeah, Leverify. I have not heard of this one. I'm guessing it's a leverage exchange. 81 million market cap, 97 million FTV. Good tokenomics. 86% trader grade. Yeah, hide this. So turned bullish back in Feb. It's up about 45%. Driving innovation and revolution in decentralized finance. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and base layer ecosystems. Hold on. So they have an exchange. Leading liquidity venue and swap platform on Neon EVM. Because they have a DEX on Neon, which is the EVM on Solana. Lever V2. Lending and leverage trading built on Ethereum. Verify. Actually, here, let me just pull up. I want to check out these investors. Let me go to our database here. I'm going to do this on the fly. We've got Verify Capital. Let me just update this. Please just bear with me. Okay. So Parify is a 6 over 30 investments, average ROI of 10%. Okay, not the greatest. Let's do Arrington. Now we do plan to add these VC scores on the new token metrics that's coming out. Arrington is an 8 over 33 investments. Ruby is a 3, only 1 investment. Let's do Signum. I think I've heard of them before. Signum is a 10. Okay, that's notable. IOST and MW. MW. Okay. I think interesting. Going to share this with the research team, and we'll do a review on this. What also did stand out, it's on Binance and Bybit already. So there's something happening here. So in essence, right now, it's a decent low cap trade. That's what it is. But don't really know exactly if it's like the move to get into. Lever Pro launch is the premium Bitcoin launchpad. Okay, interesting. So they have 2 projects now? Okay, so Bitcoin is going to be a big narrative, especially Bitcoin DeFi. So if they're claiming to be building a Bitcoin launchpad, that's a possible good swing trade. Not financial advice, but we'll definitely look more into this. Okay, I will put this into Twitter. So this basically falls under the Bitcoin narrative. Let me include this with it. All right, so those are the trades that come to mind. If we go to research now, let me close all these other tabs. All right, so the projects we covered in the last week, I'm going to share all these. So we did a deep dive on Koi network. We have covered Koi a lot, made hidden gems before. We ended up, I believe, investing or in final phases of investing. Bullish on this project, AI project. I've been mining this myself on 2 computers. I think it's definitely worth mining. If you have a computer, mine this by giving your computer to the network, and you earn tokens in exchange for completing tasks. But in essence, they have forked the L1 of Solana and built their own L1 for AI. So basically, it's an layer 1 for AI with a great list of investors. I think, is it down here? Okay, it is not. But you can just find that if you just go to crypto fundraising. They're basically layer 1 for AI, where anybody can mine. This Koi is one of the AI projects we're bullish on. Discord. Actually, they haven't announced the fundraise, huh? I thought they did. Okay, let me see if I can get the investor list. Okay, I'm not seeing the investor list. But anyway, keep an eye on this project. Bullish on this. I think This is one of the easy AI mining projects. If you're into AI, Coin Network, Grass, where you mine it in your extension, those are two easy airdrops to farm. But anyway, that's a deep dive on Coin Network. We're investing. Then RSS3, we've done an updated code review on this because it was taking off. Also an AI project. So the updated code review is 87%. I will put this in the chat. I think it's currently about, this mid cap is like $500 million market cap for FDV. But basically, it's a decentralized network indexing for basically it's infrastructure project. Let's see what the score is as a trade. It's about 82%. Yeah, so 570 million FDV, 370 million market cap. We do have a trade on this currently. And it's up about 150% in 30 days. Then there's Babylon. This is a very, very interesting project. Once again, Bitcoin narrative is taking off. Bitcoin DeFi is going to be a really big narrative. We're seeing all the innovation happening with Bitcoin. If everything that's happening on Ethereum and Solana comes onto Bitcoin, that is huge for the crypto market. But in essence, it's a Bitcoin staking project. It scored at 90%. So there's a lot of actual innovation happening on Bitcoin. This one, I mean, we would love to invest in it, but it's I believe they already raised or is super oversubscribed and they're not talking to investors. But put this on your watch list. I'll put the link here. BTC staking, let me actually pull up the, but in essence, they're unlocking 21 million Bitcoin to secure their blockchain. So I think I've not read too much into this. It's just a research team that has. But in essence, I think it's like eigenlayer for Bitcoin. I think would be the easiest kind of comparison. Eigenlayer is going to be big for Ethereum. But if you can stake your BTC and earn yield in a trustless manner. So here, they say what happens on Bitcoin stays on Bitcoin. But they're saying basically trustless staking, no bridging, no custodians, full freedom. Very, very innovative. I mean, this one, we wish we could invest. But definitely keep an eye on this one. This goes on that BTC narrative watch list. So the projects we've covered that are really bringing innovation and DeFi to Bitcoin, Babylon, I think is probably number one. We covered, was it Leroy? It was Levers. Okay, I don't know what that. There are three projects. One we did actually end up investing in that we shared is Master Protocol. I'll put this in the chat as well. Basically, modularized restaking protocol tailored to all liquid staking tokens. So it also is bringing innovation to Bitcoin. And there was a third one. Might have been on the hidden gems. We go to hidden gems. Lorenzo, yeah. Lorenzo and BounceBit. So all those. So, I mean, yeah, Lorenzo, I think my domain server is blocking this. But you guys can check that off. Lorenzo is also very, very good. And BounceBit as well. That's so just the wave of innovation happening on BTC is, I think, monumental, groundbreaking. Definitely add this as a narrative you should probably have some exposure to in your portfolio. And there are a lot of great projects out there, right? So this is basically the list. So Babylon, 90% code review, Master Protocol, Lorenzo, BounceBit, just a lot of innovation happening. Okay, so I think that's that. Uh, let's go to Investorgate and just see if there's anything different here. Investorgate is relatively stable, so pretty much the same. Let's see which ones are trending up. Yeah, the one that jumps to mind is Gearbox. That's the one I've covered before. I'm actually using it to farm the Eigenlayer airdrop and the Etherfi airdrop. I did receive the airdrop. I did not sell. And I think with airdrops, you don't really want to dump an airdrop, but you also don't want to hold forever. But I'll kind of go through my analysis again. But let me first bring up Gearbox. So Investorgate is, so the fundamentals are getting better. 74% up, almost 12% in the last 1 week. If we go to TraderGrade, TraderGrade is actually trading right now is not really ideal. Looks like the money's been made. But let me switch to my VPN real quick. Just give me a minute. Okay, I am back. So just give me a minute to connect my wallet. Okay, all right, almost there. Sorry, just so many different tabs to open. Okay, all right. So now I didn't really farm this for too long. I was kind of late to the party with this. I think it was basically for a week or two, just with leverage using Gearbox, innovative platform. You can come here, go to leverage. You can, in essence, come here, start leveraging, and pick different pools to do, right? So what I did was the Etherfi with, I think it was like maybe 6x leverage for like a week or two, because Gearbox launched this pretty late too. But in essence, I did this to airdrop farm Eigenlayer points. via EtherFi. So basically double dipping, you're getting 18x EtherFi points and 9x eigenlayer points. And from there, pretty much from 1 or 2 weeks worth of work, got about 1100 EtherFi tokens. That was, I believe, for phase one. Or I believe the multiple phases, which is about now about 7K. But I think when it launched, the airdrop price was about $4. So it was about a 4K airdrop, similar to Uniswap's airdrop. But I think if you hold that until the peak of the bull run, let's say EtherFi does a 10x, that's a 40K airdrop. Right. So that's kind of my reasoning as to why not to sell. Right now, our platform, because it's a new token just launched, there's not really much price action to really give a substantial back-tested back trader grade. We're just kind of going through my logic. If we just pull this up here. This is not loading. Sorry, just give me a second. But in essence, if an airdrop comes out, so the best example was really ApeCoin airdrop. It came out, it launched, people dumped, then it just took off. Right. So what I did is I held. As it was taking off, I just sold about a quarter. And then I timed, it was just kind of ironic, I timed the peak. When it went to $20, $25, people were speculating, I think, ApeCoin staking. That's when I sold everything. And that turned out to be the peak of the airdrop. But it ended up being a 6-figure airdrop if you held through that price action. So if I can find it on here. Because I think if you're going to airdrop from a project, ideally it's going to be a project you actually believe in, or a project you think has good fundamentals at least. If it has great tech and a great code review, I don't see why you want to dump everything. That's like dumping a moon back, right? Now, yes, there'll be initial sell pressure, but if you just weather the storm, like if we just go to ApeCoin, which hasn't really bounced back, I think it's kind of not a dead project, but a lot of has happened to really change the fundamental outlook. Give me high trader grade here. I'm not sure why I did all this, but I think this was when it launched. Yeah, so see what's going on here. Sorry, let me just check something. Okay, all right. So we're here on TradingView. So it launched, took off. So it launched about $4, and it went up, came back down, went up again, peaked at 27. I sold around 2025, like here and here. And that was back in April. And it hasn't bounced back, right? So this is definitely not a project you want to be getting into now. But I think if you understand this wave of airdrops, I think all the big airdrops will have a similar wave, right? Because they're launching pre-Bitcoin halving. So if they have great fundamentals and great tech, I don't think it makes sense to sell them before the Bitcoin halving. And I don't think it makes sense to sell them before the top, really, right? Because if crypto is going to, let's say, 8 to 14 trillion total market cap, why would you sell an airdrop now with good fundamentals and possibly good tech before the peak, right? Now, maybe you want to cycle that money into other trades, which makes sense, but then you have to make sure those trades hit, right? So for me, I just treat airdrops as free money, and I turn them into free moon bags, and then I just wait to kind of time the cycle top. Now, ApeCoin did peak in April 2022. The market top was actually November 2021. So it's about 6 months, 5 to 6 months behind schedule. So if we go back here and go to the market indicator, and we zoom out, right? The peak was November 2021. So 5 months later, there was still some alpha to be made. So in essence, money happened in Bitcoin, flow to large caps, flow to altcoins, Mooncoin season. So I would play the same approach. I want to sell airdrops around here, not down here. Long story short. So basically, that's kind of the same approach I'm taking with all these airdrops. So EtherFi, EigenLayer, Parcel, Grass, Coin Network, all these airdrops I'm farming, I want to sell them around here, right? Now, obviously, this is typically accounting for Bitcoin and large caps. So as we have shown with ApeCoin, there was a delay before the top happened, right? Because if you sold, they launched way after the market had peaked, but it was also an NFT asset class. So NFTs kind of back then were uncorrelated with Bitcoin or crypto in general. Money was flowing from NFTs to crypto, then from crypto back to NFTs. But yeah, that's kind of the quick market update. We'll share recent investments we have made. Let me just pull this up. Yeah, so this is a project we have covered before. It made hidden gems. It's called Andrina. A very, very interesting project. I call this the next helium, in essence. That's a huge claim, but I'll tell you why it could do that. Right? But let me just pull up all these different tabs here. Just give me a second. But this was covered, in essence, hidden gems back in March. So about a week ago, maybe two. I'll put the hidden gems here. I'll tell you why this can be the next helium network. And that's not hyperbole at all. Right? But in essence, if I just pull this up here, first of all, it's a DePIN project, right? DePIN is an area I'm very bullish on. People are seeing DePIN as a real key narrative just based on the performance, right? So Helium Mobile, Hivemapper, Demo, like there are legit projects happening here. Then you add on Peak, one of our portfolio companies, layer one for DePIN. So this is a huge, huge narrative, but you have real businesses in this narrative, right? So investors of Andrina include Dragonfly Capital. They've led the last two rounds. Actually, since I have this open here, might as well. I'll pull this up. So we have Dragonfly. There's an 8 on our investor list, over 44 investments. So the way this works is we take all different VCs and we've basically partnered up with crypto fundraising to get access to their API. And we get all the portfolio companies, we find those that are trading, and we're tracking the retail ROI, not the private ROI, right? So basically, we're looking for VCs that still have alpha after the tokens start trading on exchanges. So not pump and dump VCs, not VCs that get a nice, cushy private sale deal and then product ends up being a dud on exchanges. So looking at the actual ROI, right? So in this case, it's about a 76% ROI over 44 investments. But really what you're looking for is the outliers. But that's kind of how this whole framework works. But okay, so Dragonfly is an 8. If we go back, where was I? Let me see, Castle Island Ventures. Okay, hold on. Sorry, give me 1 second. I think blockchain's a, yeah, blockchain is a 10. So the reason why we like this score is you can find VCs that have actual alpha that nobody knows about, right? Like one of those VCs is blockchain. If we actually pull up their portfolio or their website here, we were like, these guys are sharpshooters. But in essence, there are VCs in Audius, DeSo, Filecoin, Flow, Mina, Near, Polkadot, Solana. And it was very, very interesting. And it also kind of keeps us humble because even we're in here now. We're currently at 9 over 5 investments. So not bad, but there's still some investments that the platform is missing. But obviously it keeps us very, very transparent, right? But anyway, back to Andrina. Why am I calling this the next Helium? So we've invested, it was at an 80 million valuation, but in essence, they're doing what Helium did now with Helium Mobile and with IoT, right? Basically, you would buy a hotspot. Anybody could buy a hotspot, put it in their home or business, and basically share their Wi-Fi to other IoT devices in exchange for tokens. Right? So it's just purely for IoT devices, right? So imagine like Lime scooters. And they ended up amassing over 1 million hotspots globally. They first rolled out in the US, then rolled out to Europe and Asia, and now globally. Then they've taken that same model and launched Helium Mobile, which I've talked about before. I have 2 devices, both my phone and my iPad. I have Helium plans, so I'm basically mining via my phone. And Helium Mobile has taken off as well. Right? Basically now letting people basically connect through the Helium telecom network using their phone. And guess what? The natural extension of that is, if it worked for phones and IoT, why not for the internet? And that's what Arduino is doing. So basically, they're planning to, this is not available in all regions yet. Right now, I think it's just in New York City. But the plan is to have affordable internet for about $25 a month, high speed up to gigs. If I go to the deck here, let me just kind of go through this real quick. Right, so we know DeepIn is big. Helium has proved the model. I think this is what we're basically getting at. They're trying to take the last mile. And kind of like, I think the natural extension from this, the natural comparison is Starlink. Right? Starlink has done pretty well. Actually, basically, they've launched global satellites across the whole world. And now anybody can get internet access by connecting to the satellites. So kind of like back in the day when you had Dish Network for TV, Starlink is basically that for internet access. So people who have RVs or who are traveling or who are in remote parts of the world get internet access. And I think it's 100 megabits per second and higher. Let me see what the deck was on that. So I'm just going to jump around here. Yes, yeah, right. So with Starlink, basically you buy the device, I believe, for $600, and you pay $110 per month. And they've reached 1 million users by December 2022. And they launched in let's say summer 2021. Right? So in about a year and a half, they got 1 million users. So basically, think of this as the Starlink for Web3 and crypto. Right? Taking that Starlink model with physical devices, right? This dish, right? In essence, they built this proprietary antenna, right? You basically put this on top of a building. You buy the device, you put it on top of a building, and you basically connect to the network, and you become a hub providing decentralized internet globally. Now, the reason why we like this, actually, here's the business model, right? They're basically saying for residents, about $10 a month, real estate owners, $60 a month, enterprise, about $500 a month. It's a real business. They have 2.5 million annual recurring revenue already, with 8,400 subscribers already. So it's not just some fly by the night rug pull in essence, right? This is why we love DeepIn. You have actual businesses like Helium. Helium was an actual business before crypto. They pivoted to kind of tokenize the model with crypto, and that panned out. So now this is the same approach. It's an actual business with actual revenue and numbers and customers that's applying the crypto model for DeepIn. Now, and they're slated to launch, I believe, later this year. I would say timeframe would be probably Q3. Maybe later, but I would say Q3, Q4 is their plan for token based on our notes. And I think it just makes sense, right? You come here, you get internet access, actually. So there should be a place to, just give me 1 second. I got a guy on his couch with a laptop and in his underwear. But in essence, I will drop this in the chat. This is a DeepIn project to watch. And this is one we think can 100x. Now, I doubt we can do an SPV for this for VIP group because it's very oversubscribed, the round. But we'll definitely keep you posted. Basically, it's 80 million valuation. 10x is 800 million. 8 billion for this, I think is possible. That's 100x. Can it do 1,000x? Can it go to 80 billion FTV once they launch a token? That's possible, but maybe not this cycle. I think somewhere between 8 to 80 makes more sense. But I mean, definitely a project worth keeping an eye on. Andrina. That's why I'm calling this the next Helium. Okay, all right. So let me just go back here. Let me get through Q&A. Let me just see if there's anything else here. You project a base cap of 1.7 billion for mint layer, but supply unlocks are around 50% of the total supply between now and spring 2024. Assuming it moons around then, does this cut your base ROI in half from 70x from current prices to 35x from current prices? I mean, let's take a look here. Mint layer. All right, so it's currently at 41 cents. Market cap 42 million. FTV 165. Okay, hold on. And the price action is bearish at 50 cents. Now, I've not looked at the tokenomics. Basically, what I've looked at is just purely at the technology and at the market cap, right? Going through projects that had a very low market cap. And my projections are basically just looking at pretty much the market cap. If you want to look at the FTV, it's obviously going to be a different projection. But I would factor in inflation with that. Let me just read the question again. Yeah, I mean, I think to be conservative, you can factor in that inflation and say, you know what, 35x as opposed to 70x. But as we're seeing, Bitcoin is basically becoming a big narrative with all the different Bitcoin products we just covered on hidden gems. Okay, let me just come back here real quick. Sorry, give me a minute. Will you guys be selling Scale Network this quarter or holding it for long-term play? Thanks. I don't believe we have Scale. I have to check with our team. Now, it was on our watch list, and I think, yeah, I think because it scored 92% on tech, so it was on a watch list. But I'm not sure if we were trading it or if we bought it. But I don't believe we actually bought it for our long term. It's currently 617 million market cap, 631 million FDV. So good tokenomics. Trader good is high. It just turned bullish at 9 cents. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see my screen. But I don't believe that this made our portfolio audit. But it's definitely an L1 or L2 project to keep an eye on. BlackRock just moved into real world assets. What are good investments besides Parcels for 100x? Well, I kind of touched on that in the beginning of this webinar with real world assets. Yeah, definitely a big monumental shift for crypto and TradFi, because now they're seeing one of the biggest players, BlackRock, entering with a tokenized fund. So the ones I covered, Swarm Markets, Homebase, although that's not trading yet. I think anything with, actually, let's take a deeper dive on this. So I just can't even know. Okay, I wanted to check real world assets. Yeah. This is also a real estate play from 2 cycles ago. Actually, I was invested in the ICO back in 2017. It did like a 10x. But I think pretty much anything with real world assets has been moving after the BlackRock news. But nothing is really, I mean, Centrifuge we like. It's just a mid cap. I think the tech was good when we reviewed it. Canto, so Polymesh has begun pumping. But really, that's all that comes to mind. Looking at, wow, it's up 60% in the last 24 hours. almost 400% this month. So definitely a narrative that's taking off, kind of like with OpenAI, how the whole AI narrative took off in crypto and Web3. Now with BlackRock, RWAs are taking off. Are you still bullish on Stellar? It's been top on the TM Investor Grade for the past few weeks. I mean, I would say it's a decent project, but the narrative is very, very competitive. Products we prefer over Stellar would be Connext and Across Protocol right now. Across we've covered before. That's one of our, it was a low cap portfolio pick for the fund. It's done so, but we like it. And then next was the other one. But the space is getting very, very crowded. Let's take a look at Seller. Yeah, Seller has just kind of really been flat, but looks like it's actually moving since October. It's a decent project, but long term, I don't want to say I don't think. I want to say in a crowded space, it's less probable that the technology wins out over the other products that we think have better tech. Right? I think Seller's code was maybe an 80%, if my memory serves me right. Next and Across, I think about 87%. So in terms of bridging projects, then you also have others like XLR. Then you also have Layer Zero, which has yet to launch. There'll likely be a big airdrop for that one. And XLR has been on a rip from 31 cents to $2. So it's a very crowded space. I already owe about 40K in taxes for the 2024 calendar year. In your experience, what's the safest way to outpace taxes with 9 months to go in 2024? I mean, get your tax plan established. I definitely talk to a good tax professional, probably a tax lawyer for all that. Create a charitable trust. You can either go through a professional or you can, I think, there was a platform I shared before. Was it Valor? Now, this one is kind of more of a, I guess, this online platform that tries to help you with this. I've never used it, but tax lawyers kind of do the same thing. But I would just share this here. This is not an endorsement for it, but there are legal structures you can establish to reduce your tax footprint legally in the US. If you're outside the US, there's probably similar tax structure. It's probably even easier for you, to be honest. Just move outside your country. Hence why Dubai is very popular. But anyway, look into that, talk to a tax lawyer. But I would do that soon rather than later. Which 100x AI DeepIn RDA coin is TM referring to from the tweet posted on? Also, why was this never mentioned to all of us as premium paying customers? Well, to be frank, I always get tired of that question, right? Because our marketing team is literally just getting projects that we have covered ad nauseum on the research site. right? Which is shared every week on this webinar, which is shared via our newsletter and different platforms. But all they do is just get products on our platform and just add a marketing suspense to it on Twitter. Right, so these are literally projects we have covered before ad nauseum. Right, so 100x AI deepin real world assets coin. Like, I don't even know which one they're talking about. Right, so, but in essence, every project they're covered, because then they're not just getting this project out of nowhere. They're literally just going to the research site and finding projects we've covered before and making tweets about them. What do equity investors in 2022 have to do for the pending token raise to receive tokens? As heard, we would be also airdrop those. If you're an equity investor, you will be getting an airdrop, right? But this is a different entity. This is the Tokenmetrics Foundation. So if you're an equity investor in the past equity rounds for Tokenmetrics Inc., the US entity, there'll be an airdrop for that. So there's nothing you really have to do. But if you want to invest in the Cayman Islands entity of the foundation to receive additional tokens, then you have to go through the whole KYC and all that. So KYC information has been sent out to people that filled out the form. Once you've been approved for KYC, then you'll be sent the SAFT. And I believe SAFTs have been sent out as of yesterday. So basically, once that's been done, then we can begin receiving funds for the foundation. Can Tokenmetrics AI enter the top 100 market cap this cycle? I mean, anything is possible. Obviously, we're biased. But I think it's possible. Because we've kind of learned a lot with AstroDAO. AstroDAO was a different entity. It was kind of a spin-off of taking the indices and kind of partnering with different contributors to launch that, right? Working with people outside of Tokenmetrics has been interesting, but also challenging. But I also think the challenging factor with AstroDAO has just been, one, running teams from different contributors and trying to coordinate all that with no fundraise, right? Basically, it was purely an airdrop, right? And running an airdrop in crypto, while beneficial to the end user, makes it challenging to run a business when you have to pay payroll, right? So with Tokenmetrics, though, we kind of basically have the business, which is functioning, right? And then also the fundraise also helps with additional just needs. So I think with that and having everything in-house via the foundation is definitely helpful. BitsCrunch, let me just make sure I'm getting the most recent votes. Okay. Is Space Mesh, Crust, Peak, Aletheia, Mitlayer, Toshi, Demo, and Parcel a good diversified enough 20x portfolio? Is 20x plus realistic on a portfolio with these holdings? Honestly, short answer, I don't know. If I were to speculate, I think it's a decent portfolio, not financial advice. I like Space Mesh. We began to accumulate Space Mesh again. But Space Mesh is it's a moonshot. It's a low probability chance of panning out, like, because they're really trying to become the next Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're trying to create a decentralized cryptocurrency that's competing with Bitcoin with different consensus model. But if it does pan out, it will make a lot of money. All right, so I just want to kind of level set with you. This is not like an automatic 100x, right? But based on the technology, if there's anything that's going to be potentially the next Caspa, that could be it, right? It's like high risk, super high risk, super high reward, right? But also a higher chance for striking out. But I like it. Crust and Peak, very, very bullish. Peak, they announced their fundraise today. Let me get their info here. Peak is going to be a phenomenal project. It's a project I'm most bullish on. We invested, the fund. Also did an SPV for VIP customers. So very, very proud of that because we get them exposure to the project we're most bullish on in our portfolio. Yeah, so they actually had two fundraisers here in the past. Raised 6 million back in June 2022, 15 million back in well, it was announced today, 2024, March. This is the investor list. Overall, they have great investors backing them. But Layer 1 DePIN with superior technology, 89% tech review. So for us, we think this is it's going to make money. Because actually, let me see where Crest is their testnet, where this is trading at. There will be an airdrop for those who have the Crest tokens. I think that's also partly why it's done pretty well. Okay, doesn't seem like we have info on this. I think it's CoinMarketCap that has info on Crest. Okay, so market cap about 45 million. FDV 350 million. So when peak launches, let's say it's between 1 to 3.5. I'll say let's say 3.5 billion FDV is what peak launches at. I think from there I can 10x. Now for perspective, let's actually do Sol. If we do Solana, because I called peak the Solana. Solana is currently 80 billion market cap, 104 billion FDV. If we go back in time, Solana last cycle peaked at about 75 billion market cap. Not FDV, market cap. Right? So I'm calling peak the Solana of this cycle. Layer 1 DePIN with a great ecosystem, thriving ecosystem. So let's say it launches at 3.5 billion. So from there, so I think at 20x is possible. That'll get you to about 70 billion market cap. Now, I'm sorry, if it launches at 3.5 billion market cap. Now, I think it's going to launch at a lot lower market cap. But let's say it launches at 2.5 billion FDV. Right? So let's say the FDV of Solana back then was 125, 150 billion. I'm not sure the exact tokenomics at the time. But let's say Solana went to 150 billion FDV. Last cycle. Right? Basically become a top 10 coin. Market cap wise. I think Peak can become a top 20, top 30 market cap project. Like I think it's that good. It's the project to watch. To a point that we plan to buy more Peak once it launches. That's how, because like with Sol, if we go back to the price, the all-time high for Sol was 258. Let's say 260. When it launched, you could have bought it under a penny. So basically, the VCs made anywhere from 1,000x to 6,000x in Solana. But if you bought it on CoinList or even straight on exchanges at under $1, you would have made a 250x return on your money, right? Let's assume you didn't sell the peak, or the irony of that, or the top. Regardless, let's say you get half of that, you easily could have made 100x buying Solana on exchanges. So we think the same is with Peak. We think Peak has a good chance For us, we think 1,000x from the VC entry, but we want to buy more on exchanges because we think it can at least 50x, but I think even 100x. Buying it early on exchanges. And basically, we think it's the Solana of this cycle, just like with Sol. If you are accumulating, it launched at 95 cents. If you bought it down here before it went up, right? Same thing with peak. We think it's going to launch probably mispriced, although we've been covering it a lot. I don't think the general market is really understanding how big of a project this can be. Layer 1 DePIN project with a thriving ecosystem. Like projects in their ecosystem are raising capital from great investors. But anyway, that's kind of the same approach we're taking with Peak. So long story short, yeah, I think the portfolio, Toshi, I don't know of. Demon Parcel, I like. I would add the airdrops in there because Parcel is an airdrop. Because I don't think, I'm guessing when you say Parcel, you're basically farming the airdrop. But yeah, I think if you add airdrop farming with Grass, with Coin Network, with ETHFI already happened. Eigenlayer, if you have any Ethereum, might as well put it in Gearbox and earn some Eigenlayer points from that with leverage. Still bullish on Connext and Mintlayer? Yes, but I definitely want to make an updated list on low cap coins. They all have good tech, but the space is now getting very, very crowded. Like we covered all these new Bitcoin DeFi restaking products happening. So, but all these have great tech, but now with the space more crowded, I would like to reassess and see how all these other Bitcoin projects launch, and once they begin trading, to see what their valuation is. When the trading bot is released, do I need to be holding TMAI to be able to use it? No, you will not, but it will definitely give you more utility and lower fees. You've repeatedly called for 12.5 billion FTV as your target for GameSwift on multiple webinars, but on the original top 1500x webinar, you said 2.7 billion base case for GameSwift, which would imply an 80 to 100 billion dollar FTV. Is 80 billion FTV really a realistic base case for GameSwift? I don't think 80 billion. Let me see. Because we got in about 12.5 million FTV. Let's actually pull up GameSwift. 80 billion, I think, is rather high. That was not the base case. I would say billion is probably with the moon case, which is the, oh, why is it, sorry, I clicked the wrong link. Let's pull up GameSwift. The 80 to 100 billion is not a base case. That's the moon case. Base case is, yeah, 2.7 billion FTV base case. I cannot show why this is not loading. Okay. It's currently 900 million FTV, 36 million market cap. Right now, it's basically in the top 1,000 market cap. Yeah, I would have to look at the tokenomics, but I think 80 billion market cap is very, yeah, I don't think that's really a base case. Well, I'm sorry, 80 billion FTV. Yeah, GameStop is one of those projects that's kind of tough to analyze because of it is very low float, as you can see here, right? If we zoom out. So basically you kind of pick your method of analysis. Do you want to look just purely at market cap because it's a new project and FTV is a meme? Or do you want to look purely at FTV? Because let's say you believe market cap's a meme. Right, so let me hide this. Because if we look purely at FTV, let's say it's at $1 billion, it can go to maybe 50 billion FTV. All right, that's a 50x purely from the FTV perspective. Right? If you want to look purely at market cap, it's currently at 36 million. And let's say we're targeting. So basically 100x from here would be 3.6 billion market cap. So it's one of those that's, because let me see what the ratio is. So right now, only about 4% of the tokens are liquid. So let's assume there's no inflation and it's just, if it goes to 50 billion market cap, I'm sorry, 50 billion FTV, 4% of that is 2 billion market cap. So that would be the target. So it would be slightly under 100x from current prices, market cap wise. But that's using 50 billion FTV as the target. We're all hyped on Toshi and would like to know what you think of it. Also, what's a good base and moon case for Toshi? Okay, I looked into this. It sounds like a new coin, so let's check CoinMarketCap. It sounds like a meme coin. I guess it's meme coin on base is my guess. Yeah, base meme coin. And meme coins, they're trades. There's no analysis to be done. So I'm not your guy for that. Looking at us though, 215 million FTV, 9 million market cap. If we go to the website here, I see what they did there. Toshi the cat to shit the cat. Looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. I think the main thing with meme coins, liquidity. Are there whales backing it? Because if there were whales backing it, it's gonna one be liquid. And if it's liquid, I mean, looks like good marketing for sure. The question is, how bullish are you on base? With it being owned by, well, I guess Coinbase being the one kind of backing it. Yeah, I mean, this could be like the meme coin for base, but there's so many meme coins now. You have to kind of pick which ones you like. But overall, I mean, it looks decent from initial impressions. I'll just look at the liquidity and what exchanges it's trading on. Because exchanges will list it if it has a large community with liquidity. How would you maximize your time to make the most of this bull run? If you quit your job to go full-time crypto right now, assuming you were just starting out with your current resources at your disposal. Yeah, I mean, if I quit my job like I did back in 2017 with IBM, and I was full-time in crypto, one, I would be researching crypto. I'll be researching low cap projects every day, almost 24/7, but pretty much, let's say 8 to 5. Well, yeah, pretty much every single day you're doing crypto research, right? Using all the different tools out there, Tokenmetrics, Crypto Twitter, Telegram groups, everywhere, right? Finding the alpha, right? Finding what projects you want to accumulate in now that can make money, right? Even finding meme coins, right? Doing the research to find out, hey, what whales are going onto this meme coin on chain? So basically research, 1, 2, more research, 3, networking, going to crypto conferences. I will be in Token 2049 in Dubai. I didn't go to ETH Denver, just kind of wanted to kind of focus on the company and stuff, but I'll be in Dubai. So if you're there, looking forward to meeting you. But yeah, I mean, network, right? Find the alpha, right? If you're an angel investor, you have to get into those angel groups or network with other VCs that have the deal flow, right? So for example, like hint, like take like our investor list, right? Know what VCs have alpha, right? And become friends with them, right? So for example, some VCs that I think we said what blockchain was one that kind of surprised us. They're at 10. They're sharpshooters, right? No, they aren't as famous or as popular as the Multicoins of the world or the Coinbase Ventures or A6. Actually, yes. Look at Coinbase. Coinbase is good. They're 10. What A16Z is a 10 too now, right? Actually, let's do so. Obviously, in a bull run, all the big names are 10, but the low key names, actually, is DWF. Yeah, like DWF. I know they get roasted on Twitter for being a market maker, but they are relatively new. But they're sharpshooters. So just kind of network with the sources of alpha, right? Build an alpha network, right? Become friends with them, go out for drinks, dinner at a conference, stay in touch after the conference via Telegram. And now you kind of are creating this deal flow network, right? If you have the funds, I'll definitely get into the Tokenmetrics VIP plan. Although it's kind of getting, we're slowly accepting new members, right? But find groups like that, create your network, your global network for alpha, right? It's kind of like your own Telegram alpha network, kind of like how we have crypto Twitter alpha, but build that pipeline. But basically research, and network would be really the key. And have a strategy for when to take profits. And just know the market's going to move in cycles, right? As we see here. Because we're kind of down here, right? We're in a bullish trend, but understand that there'll be this cycle here, like back in 2021, in May, came back down, then boom, went back up again. That's why I think this market indicator is always the home base. All right, are we in a bullish or bearish trend? Because you want to always know what trend we're in, so you know what strategy to go with. Rollbit was one of your top blue chip stores or valued this cycle, but last week you said the TM Ventures fund sold. What changed? It just didn't make the portfolio audit, right? When we go to a bearish trend, you have to kind of look at all your holdings and say which ones are not living up to the thesis we had, right? Based on fundamentals or what have you. And the thesis was not panning out. And then each quarter or each quarter new projects appear that have superior return profiles, right? So imagine, like, let's say we had this portfolio at this time, right? Let's say the market was here, right? And now we're here. And this is basically a quarter later. And now you have even more projects in the market that are new, that maybe are even more undervalued with better fundamentals, a better technology, or just a better risk to reward profile, right? Kind of the same thing happening here, right? So like if Rollbit, if we have to decide between Rollbit and buying Parcel on exchanges, and it's undervalued, right? Those are the kind of the things that we have to kind of factor in. But Rollbit is still gonna is still making money on chain, but it's just not making money in the portfolio. How soon do you foresee $250 to $300 Solana? Does the recent 100% run up diminish the chances of this being a great short-term trade? Yeah, I mean, we like Sol, but now we're looking to get out of large caps and get more into mid caps and low caps, because now we're back to a bullish trend again. So now we can be risk on again. So Solana has done pretty well, right? Basically from last year, right? 8x in the last 1 year. So it's definitely outperformed Ethereum. But now the question is, will the market being back to risk on, you can go back into mid caps and low caps that likely will do better, right? So how soon to 250? I think it's possible. I think it could happen by Bitcoin halving or after Bitcoin halving, like a month or two after 250 to 300. But the question is, do you want to be in Solana or do you want to be in some other project that is more undervalued? Any update on Astrodal? Team's getting closer to the launchpad, and then also getting closer to there were upgrades to the indices. 100x Toshi. That I do not know. That I mean, if you're bullish on base, a meme coin on base is definitely doesn't make sense. Where do you or TM Ventures store your space mesh? It's through an OTC desk. They hold that for us via exchanges. Yeah, I think via exchanges. Yeah, because our custodian does not support space mesh. You said your base case target for space mesh was 10 billion. Are you really planning to not take any profits on space mesh until 10 billion market cap? It depends. But it depends on how much you need the money. Is why I say it depends. Because I'm comfortable hodling for a longer period of time than most people are, right? So if you're not comfortable hodling, definitely take profits. Now, that does not mean I never take any profits. I do take profits, but it depends, right? So like, for example, I'll just come back to Helium and Polygon, because those are projects I held longer than most. Right? If we zoom out here. Right, like I got in basically under between like 15 and 25 cents buying on exchanges. This is in addition to already mining it. I bought so Helium, you can make money on exchanges, right? So these are the projects I talk about. If you're full-time in crypto, you have to find the new projects nobody has really heard of early. I bought under 25 cents, basically. Bought more at $1.50. Bought more at $10. And basically I didn't really sell till like around here. Actually, I think it was September or September. Yeah, so I sold when it was about $20. $20 was when I began to sell my Helium. That was like the first time. I sold maybe a quarter. then I sold more when it was around here. Right? So in essence, that's kind of the same approach I'll take with Space Mesh. Because if your thesis is it's going 100x, if that's the base case, why are you going to sell before then? Right? Now, let's say you want to be super conservative. Okay, maybe sell at a 50x. Right? But I don't think selling at a 10x makes sense. Right? Obviously, it depends on your thesis as to why you're investing. Now, Space Mesh is a tricky one. I said it's high risk, high reward. I'm getting more questions on Space Mesh. So the site was it Tato Tracker? Let me pull this up again. Right, because this is the site I'm using. Because right now it's very early with Space Mesh. But I can kind of walk you through the thesis, right? So we have a project with 89%, an L1 that's trying to become the next Cas. It's basically competing with Caspa, with Bitcoin and Ethereum. They don't have smart contracts yet, but an L1, in essence, with an 89% code review, tech review, that's currently at 142 million market cap. Right, so now I think because so this is kind of the biggest area of conflict, right? With products like this, do you assess them based on the market cap or based on the FDV? I would say you really want to look at this more from the market cap perspective, and kind of like with Caspa or with Eleithium. Like Eleithium is a mining project, right? So mining coins, you have to kind of assess them different because the supply is not kind of just being dumped on from other parties. You would have to mine these tokens, just like with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, there were 21 million total supply. When it launched, it was a low float project, but you really could not assess it based on the FTV because that would limit your analysis because those tokens have to be mined and earned. So looking at this, we have a project with great tech under 150 million market cap. Now the issue is, let me actually see let me see if the other sites added it yet. But the big fundamental catalyst with Space Mesh is no major exchange has it yet. So you're getting in early. But it's also a risk, right? It's a liquidity risk, right? Oh, okay. So CoinMarketCap has added their FDV here. So they have it at 11 billion. This is kind of basically the challenge I have with mining coins. Let's see here. Let's actually look into this now, since there's lots of interest here. But in essence, these are the, I'm not sure why they're showing Jupiter here. It's not a Solana project. I'm guessing it's an ad. It's basically on crappy exchanges, right? So the high FDV and the crappy exchanges would deter most investors. But let's say you're full-time in crypto and you're researching all this, you realize actually for this is maybe one of the few products where the FDV is an exception. And because it's an L1, it's tougher for exchanges to integrate this. So basically, you're kind of early, kind of like with Helium when they launched their own L1, it took them a while to get Binance, then eventually Coinbase. But the money was made getting in before Binance and Coinbase, because by then the alpha is kind of gone. So let's actually look into this. If you give me a minute here. Yeah, it says the Space Mesh tokenomics model. Is this the same one? Yeah. We're inspired by Bitcoin, i.e. the large majority of the coins are fairly allocated to miners with a small percentage to the team and initial investors, smoothly vesting over 10 years. So about 6% when the final SMH tokens or coin is mined. Actually, I'll put this in the chat for those that want to look into this. Let me go to this other one here. So like Bitcoin Smash, the Space Mesh native coin will be issued over time according to an exponential decay function. So about 7.3x more gradual than Bitcoin, with a half-life of around 29 years. So at 10 years post-Genesis, 25% of total issuance up to that point will be reserved for early investors and builders. Yeah, so there's a constant inflation, if I'm getting this right. So this is the circulating coin supply in the first 5 years before they proposed a change. So they've made a change to this. So I mean, there'll always be tokens being issued. So here they're actually going through the first 500 years. But in essence, it's modeled after Bitcoin. So I think you have to assess it in the same capacity you would have analyzed Bitcoin when Bitcoin launched. And I think with Bitcoin, you have to really look at the market cap, not the FDV of Bitcoin. Right? Because there's always an influx of tokens in circulation. And I think it's said the so 6.25% goes to early investors with multi-year vesting. So rather than having abrupt halvings, Space Mesh issuance decays predictably and gradually with every layer. The second is that whereas Bitcoin has a half-life of about 4 years, the half-life for Space Mesh issuance will be about 29 years. This means that while the last full Bitcoin will be issued around 2140, the last Smash coin will be issued hundreds of years after Genesis, in around 2899. So basically 2900. The third is that a small portion. So basically, it's going to have a longer issuance than Bitcoin. And right now, we're in 2024. If they're expecting the last Smash coin, because I will admit, it is confusing. I don't think I fully get it as well, but reading this, I think definitely go through this. If they're saying the last coin will be about 2900, you can't really analyze it based on FDV. So this is one of the few instances where, kind of as I say with mining coins, you don't, the FDV has gone up in the last, why is it changing? Let me refresh again. It went up, then down, then went up again. So in this instance, I would look at purely the market cap, right? So now, if we're saying, okay, you know what, let's not look at the FDV. It's gonna have this, the tokens of coins are going to be issued and spread out till almost 2900. So whatever inflation is happening with mining coins is going to be gradual. It's a gradually spread out. So not affecting the price too much. If we go back to the other site, Tater, right? So basically, it's 142 million market cap. right? So can this get to $14 billion market cap is a question now. Actually, let me just go back. So we have that versus, let's say 11 billion. So about 1.3% of the FDV. So yeah, I don't think you can really use FDVs, but let's say the target is 14 billion. Or in this case, I said 10 billion, but let's say 14 billion just to keep the math simple. Right? Assuming the ratio of market cap to FDV stays the same, you're looking at 1 trillion market cap. I'm sorry, FDV, which I think is ridiculous, but according to this post, I don't think you can really use FTV, which kind of reminds me of a different project in the past, which was, actually, hold on, give me a second here, which was Filecoin, because it was also a mining coin. And so right now it's 18 billion FTV, actually. Let me do this. Because last cycle, Filecoin reached a ridiculous amount of FTV. I think it was maybe close to Bitcoin's FTV. So last cycle, it peaked in April at about 11.5 billion market cap. Okay, let me just do a quick search here. Okay, just give me a minute here. Yeah, I just found like some posts from last cycle. Filecoin's FDV was 417 billion. Greater than Walmart, Disney, and MasterCard. No, actually, I was an early investor in Filecoin. I was in their ICO. It did like a 50x, I believe. But I think Filecoin is one of those mining coins. So I think this is going to be like Bitcoin and like Filecoin, where the FTV is going to be astronomical. Well, assuming this thesis plays out that it's going to do 100x, I think the FTV is going to be a meme, right? It's going to be like $1 trillion project, or L1. And if it gets to 10 to 14 billion market cap, now the fundamental aspect of that thesis playing out is eventually there has to be liquidity with Space Mesh. There has to be a major exchange that lists it. If there's no major exchange, the whole thesis will never pan out, right? So I think it's one of those investments where you have to just wait it out. Like I would not sell Space Mesh before a major exchange listing. In that sense, if that takes 1 year, 2 years, who knows, right? But it's like with Helium. Helium was this on L1. Exchanges have to actually integrate it. It's not just an ERC20 token or a SOL token. They have to actually create the connections in the backend for this new blockchain. They're going to take the coin on the exchange for trading. But yeah, I mean, I think that kind of answers the question, right? Pretty much this blog post tells us it's going to have a more gradual decay than Bitcoin, right? 7 times more gradual decay than Bitcoin. All right, I think we can wrap things up here. Thank you, everybody. Hope you all have a good week. And let's all go out there and make some money. Have a good one.